Welcome to Mindful Leadership, Transforming Lives, with your host, Singh. This is where leadership meets purpose, presence, and passion. In today's fast-paced, high-pressure world, we face a leadership crisis. Too often, teams are led by managers who lack empathy, clarity, and vision, leaving individuals uninspired, disconnected, and undervalued. But it doesn't have to be this way. Great leadership isn't born, it's built. The end game: empower your leadership, inspire the world. Every week, join me, your host Singh, as we tackle the gaps in leadership and life coaching head on, learning how mindfulness, emotional intelligence, and compassion can redefine success. This isn't just another podcast, it's a mission to fill the void left by ineffective leadership. And it's not just about leadership in business. Life coaching for leaders and new executives is at heart of this journey. Ready to rise above the noise and lead with clarity, purpose, and impact? Join a global movement dedicated to reshaping the future of leadership, one mindful moment at a time. Let's begin.
Welcome back to another episode of Mindful Leadership Podcast on the Transformation Network, the podcast where we turn stress into strategy, overthinking into clarity, and overwhelm into momentum. I'm your host, Singh, the leadership coach who knows that growth does not happen through burnout, it happens through alignment. So let's begin. Most leaders walk around thinking pressure is the secret to high performance. You push harder, grip tighter, micromanage the heck out of everything, and cross your fingers that your team does not implode. But here's the truth no one tells you: the tighter you grip, the more control you lose. It's like trying to hold water in your hands. Clench too hard, and it spills everywhere. And then chaos strikes. Deadlines closing in, someone accidentally deletes the entire project folder. Probably the same person who still hasn't figured out how to mute themselves on Zoom. And suddenly, all eyes on you. You have got two options in that moment: panic or pivot. And that's where mindful leadership steps in. It's not slowing down or lighting scented candle in the conference room. Well, if that's works for you, go do it. But mindfulness is about staying composed so you can see and then speed up the right decisions when everything around you feels like it's on fire. Here's the deal: as a leader, you're not just managing deadlines or deliverables, you are regulating your entire team's energy. Think about it. You are frantic, your team is frantic. If you are calm, your team is focused. And if you are a human tornado, well, good luck getting anything done. So today, I'm going to show you how to turn chaos into clarity and pressure into performance. Because thriving under pressure is not about being a superhuman, it's about being mindful. And in the next episode, we are going to share with you a special interview with a special guest that I will discuss later. Now, grab your coffee, tea, kombucha, whatever it is. Let's dive in. And if you're already thinking, I don't have time for mindfulness, trust me, this episode is exactly what you need. All right, let's talk about chaos. We all have been there. Maybe it's the Monday morning fire drill when your inbox looks like a tsunami hit you. Maybe it is moment your team's Slack thread goes suspiciously silent, like the calm before the storm, and then bam, someone admits they accidentally deleted the project folder. It just happened with one of my clients, so I added this to my talk today. Here is the kicker: everyone is looking at you like, what is the plan, boss? It's your moment to shine or spiral. Now, most leaders, they react. And I get it. When chaos hits, the instinct is to jump in, fix it, do something. I have been through ransomware attack. I can talk hours on it. But here's the bad truth: reacting is not leading. Reacting is what gets you into more trouble. That's why you need the mindful pivot framework. This is not just a cute acronym or something you would find on a motivational poster. It's a tactical three-step playbook to help you lead with clarity, not cortisol. Okay, let's break it down. The first, pause. And no, I don't mean sitting cross-legged in middle of your office while your team runs around like headless chickens. What I mean is taking a literal 60 seconds to stop, breathe, and reset. Think of it like hitting Control Z for your brain. You know, when you're typing an email, accidentally delete half of it and then panic. That's when you hit Control Z and everything magically comes back. That's what pausing does for your brain. It gives you a chance to stop the spiral before it gets worse. Imagine you are in a meeting and someone just dropped the ball. Maybe it is the wrong numbers in the deck, or they came unprepared, as simple as that. Your instinct might be to call them out immediately, but what happens next? You blow up, they shut down, and suddenly the whole room feels like a pressure cooker. Instead, try this. Take a beat, breathe, and ask yourself, what is the outcome I actually want here? Because a calm leader diffuses tension, a reactive leader amplifies it. The next step is we process. This is where you step back and get curious instead of furious. Ask yourself, what is the real issue here? What is within my control? What is just noise? Look, it is easy to get distracted by drama, but processing is about cutting through the noise to focus on what actually matters and something that our brain is already designed to do. Imagine you are at an airport, your flight gets delayed, and suddenly there's chaos everywhere. Lines at the desk, people yelling, kids crying. Now you could freak out like everyone else, panicking, checking your phone every 5 seconds, or you could calmly process the situation. Is there another flight option? Do I have time for a snack? Can I use this delay to catch up on something more productive? The same goes on for leadership. When chaos hits, it's processing that helps you zoom out, assess the situation, and decide what is actually worth your time and energy. And trust me, not everything is worth your energy or your time. Some things are just turbulence. You let it pass. Finally, the third step, we pivot. This is where you shift from what is wrong to what is next. Pivoting is not about having all the answers, it's about leading your team towards clarity and action and saying, here is what we are going to do next, and here is why. Now, let me give you a quick example. A couple of years ago, I was leading a team during what I just call a great budget apocalypse. Funding got slashed, timelines got tighter, and everyone was losing it. My first instinct, panic. But instead, I paused, processed the situation, and pivoted by focusing on what we could control, reallocating resources, and doubling down on the projects that mattered the most. And the result, we didn't just survive, we thrived. And no, it was not perfect. And leadership is not about perfection, it's about progress. And the secret is when you pivot with clarity, your team follows your lead. Because let's be honest, they are not just listening to what you say, they are watching how you handle the pressure. And if you are grounded, they will be grounded with you. Here is something I want you to think about. When was the last time your stress became contagious for your team? Yeah, I know that's a tough one, but it's important because your team mirrors your energy. If you're calm under pressure, they will reflect that calm. But if you're chaotic, well, you're basically handing them a permission to slip to panic. Pause, process, and pivot. That is how mindful leaders turn chaos into clarity. Let's talk about mindfulness in real world because the way people describe it, you would think it is reserved for monks on mountaintops or influencers in Bali sipping, I don't know, something under waterfall, right? But you and I both know your team does not need a guru. They don't need someone humming Om in break room or handing out crystals during your 9 a.m. stand up. What they need is a leader who does not lose their mind the moment Karen from accounting says, let's circle back to this for the 10th time in the same meeting. You know the moment I'm talking about. You're sitting there internally screaming, circle back to what, Karen? The problem we just solved an hour ago? But instead, flipping your lid, you take a breath, smile, and say, great idea, like a true mindful pro. That's mindfulness in leadership. It's not about emptying your mind, it's about not losing it when everything feels like chaos on top of chaos. And here's the thing, mindfulness is the way more practical than people think. It's about noticing the little things. Like when a team member says, I'm fine, but their face is screaming. I'm 5 seconds away from rage quitting. Or when you are in a meeting and halfway through, you catch yourself zoning out while someone is explaining the same slide for the third time. And you think, oh, great, I am that person now. See, we all have been there. The good news, those moments are opportunities to flex your mindfulness muscle. Because let's face it, if you stay calm when someone sends you a Slack message that says, we need to talk with no context, you're basically a Zen master. And seriously, why do people do that? We need to talk. Just add little more context, please. Are you talking about moving deadlines or are you quitting? Give me something to work with here. But here is the real takeaway, mindfulness is not about finding hours in your day to meditate, it is about mastering the micro moments that you have between your breath. Noticing your own reactions before the spiral out of control. It's catching yourself when you're about to snap and asking, wait, is this really the energy I want to bring into the room? So here is a challenge for you. The next time your blood starts to boil, whether it's from an overflowing inbox, a passive aggressive email, or God forbid, another let's circle back moment, pause. Take 5 seconds to breathe, ask yourself what the actual issue is, and then respond like the calm, collected leader you know you can be. Because here's the thing, you can stay calm when everybody around you feels like it's falling apart. You are already halfway to being the leader your team needs. Mindfulness is not about perfection, it's about progress. One deep breath, one eye roll held back, one thanks for your input, Karen, at a time. So go ahead, master those micro moments. Your team will thank you. And hey, maybe Karen will too. All right, let's talk about leading through chaos. Because if you have ever been in a meeting where half the team is arguing, the other half is scrolling Amazon, and someone just said, let's table this for now, you know exactly what chaos feels like. As a leader, your job is not just to manage that chaos, it is to master it. And let me tell you, it's not about having the loudest voice or the longest email threads. It's about staying calm and composed when everything around you feels like it's on fire. That's why I want to introduce you to something I swear by, the calm framework. This is not just another leadership buzzword, it's your daily operating system for leading mindfulness, clarity, and purpose. And a quick disclaimer, I designed it after I blew up in a board meeting. It works just as well for handling a high stake team meeting as it does for surviving a family dinner where your uncle starts talking about cryptocurrency again. But first step, center yourself. And look, if this sounds like one of those just breathe through it cliches, hear me out. This step is everything. You can't lead others if you can't first lead yourself. Think about your nervous system like the Wi Fi router of your team. If your connection is fried, everyone else's connection is going down. So when chaos hits, when deadlines are closing in, or someone just sent a you a Slack message that starts with, hey, can we talk? Pause. Don't react. Take 60 seconds to breathe and reset. I wish I had done before I blew up in the board meeting. And if you're thinking I don't have 60 seconds to pause, let me ask you this. Do you have and you prefer time to clean up the mess you will make if you react the wrong way? See? Step two, assess the moment. And this is where a lot of leaders get stuck. Because when we are in a fight or flight mode, our brain love to catastrophize. Yes, that's a word I came up with. Everything feels like a 5 alarm fire, when in reality, most of it is just smoke. So here is what you do: zoom out, ask yourself three simple questions. What is actually happening right now? What is within my control and what is just noise? For example, your team misses a deadline. Is the actual issue missed deadline, or is it that you did not communicate expectations clearly upfront? Or maybe it's just timing issue that is fixable. This step is about clarity. It's about cutting through the panic and focusing on what really matters. Because if you're running around trying to fix everything, you'll fix nothing. And then we are at lead with intention. This is where the magic happens. Look, every word you say, every tone you use, every decision you make, it is emotional training for your team. They're watching you, whether you realize it or not. If you respond with panic, they learn that panic is how you handle problems. But if you respond with clarity, purpose, and calm, that's what they will mirror back to you. Before you open your mouth, ask yourself, what is the outcome I want to create with this moment? Because leadership is not just about solving problems, it's about setting the tone of how problems get solved. And finally, we got the fourth step: model the energy. This is simple. I shared your team mirrors your emotion state. If you are calm, they will reflect stability. If you are frantic, they will reflect chaos. Think of yourself as the emotional thermostat in the room. You set the temperature. When you show up grounded and focused, you give your team permission to do the same. Your team does not just need you to solve problems, they need you to show them how to handle problems. And when you model calm, deliberate energy, you are not just managing tasks, you are teaching your team how to thrive under pressure. So, when one of our guests coming in the next episode, Dan is the same big leader. So, let's pause here for a second because I want you to really think about something. Who is in your team mirrors your calm? And who in your team mirrors your chaos? That's a tough one, isn't it? But it is worth sitting with because the way you show up as a leader does not just affect today, it shapes the culture of your entire team. So if you have been walking into every meeting with frantic energy, guess what? Your team is probably walking out of those meetings feeling the same way. On the flip side, if you are grounded and steady, they carry that energy into their own work. You set the tone. You are the thermostat. Here is a sound bite I want you to carry with you. Stay calm. The leader your team needs is already inside you. So, this framework is not about being perfect, it's about being intentional. It's about mastering those micro moments where chaos hits and showing up as leader your team deserves. So, the next time you feel like everything's spiraling, remember, center yourself, assess the moment, lead with intention, and model the energy. Because mindful leadership is not just a skill, it is a superpower. So let's talk about why mindfulness is not just some trendy buzzword for people who own too many yoga mats. It's the secret weapon of high performing leaders. And I know what you're thinking. Mindfulness? Really? I don't have time to sit cross legged and hum my way to success. But that is not what this is about. Mindfulness is not about slowing down, it's about speeding up the right decisions. Here is the competitive truth: the leaders who stay calm under pressure don't just survive, they win. They win the recovery curve, they win their team's trust, they win the opportunity to turn chaos into clarity while everyone else is busy freaking out. Think about last time you were in a crisis. Maybe a deadline was closing in, or someone on your team dropped the ball. Did you step in as calm, composed leader who steadied the ship? Or did you let the pressure turn you into human equivalent of a kitchen fire? As a leader, you're not just solving problems, you are setting tone. You are the emotional thermostat, and your team is the thermometer. You set the temperature. If you're steady, they are steady. If you're on the edge, well, buckle up because that anxiety is about to spread faster than the latest TikTok dance. Let me break a big myth for you. Mindfulness is not about chilling out or becoming some Zen monk who's impervious to stress. It's about clarity, it's about focus, it's about getting out of reaction mode and into leadership mode. Ponder this. You are in a meeting and the team just hit a major snag. Everyone is panicking, offering 10 different solutions, and it is starting to feel like an, I don't know, episode of a Survivor conference room edition. Now, most leaders, they jump right into the chaos. They start breaking orders, changing direction 3 times in 10 minutes, and fueling the panic. But a mindful leader, they pause, they assess the situation, and then make a deliberate decision. Now, when you operate from a place of calm, you see things others miss. When you pause, you can actually spot the real problem instead of getting distracted by all the noise. And if you're not practicing mindfulness, here is what you're leaving on the table: trust. Your team won't trust your judgment if you're constantly reacting. Innovation. Chaos kills creativity. Calm creates space for ideas to flow. And resilience. Your team reflects your energy. If you're falling apart, so they will. So, because I know someone out there is thinking, this sounds great in theory, but how do I actually do this? Mindfulness does not require hours of meditation or a Himalayan retreat. It's as simple as mastering your micro moments. When you feel stress creeping in, take 10 seconds to breathe. Seriously, just pause and reset your internal thermostat. Before you walk into a meeting, ask yourself, what energy do I want to bring into this room? Before your team does not just listen to your words, they feel your why. And when you are in middle of a crisis, instead of jumping into action, ask, what is the outcome I want to create here? That one question can save hours of backtracking later. This is not about being perfect. It is about being intentional. It's about showing up steady when everyone else is spinning out. Let me hit you with a reflection question. Who in your team mirror your calm and who in your team mirror your chaos? Yeah, I just asked that, right? Here is the sound bite I want you to carry with you. Mindfulness is not a break, it is a competitive edge. The most successful leaders are not the ones who can yell the loudest or react the fastest. They are the ones who can stay calm, lead strong, and turn pressure into performance. So, next time chaos hits, remember you are the thermostat. Set the temperature, lead with intention, and most importantly, stay calm. Now, the leader your team needs is already inside you. So, get real for a second. If you have been listening to this episode and thinking, okay, I get it, I need to be more mindful as a leader, but where do I even start? I got you covered. Here's the deal. I want to help you take all insight from today's episode and turn it into action. Because let's face it, knowing what to do is not the same as actually doing it. And if you're serious about becoming the kind of leader who turns chaos into clarity, you have got to start from inside out. I have shared this in very simple 3-step process. Pause and take deep breath and feel the breath going through your body, and you become a silent observer. So here is what I'm offering. DM me the words mindful leader on LinkedIn, and I'll send you a free code to assess yourself. Yes, a free access to purpose factor assessment. Purpose factor assessment, think of it as the ultimate cheat code for self awareness. It is a tool designed to uncover what drives you, what drains you, and how you can lead with purpose and clarity starting today. I know this is not one of those what kind of sandwich are you quizzes. This is the real deal. It is the same tool I use with executive teams around the world to help leaders reset, refocus, and lead with impact. It not only identifies the different archetype advantages that you have, your natural advantage, something that you grew up with, your acquired skills, things that you have acquired over years, your pull passion, things that you gravitate to do, and your origin strength, how you have created yourself to defend to any negative situation. We go beyond and talk about what frustrates and fulfills you and help you draw that roadmap on how you can minimize doing things that frustrates you and maximize doing things that fulfills you. Here's the thing, not everyone is going to take up this assessment, and that's fine. But if you are one of the few leaders out there who is ready to stop reacting and start leading with intention, with purpose, then this is your moment. DM me, Mindful Leader on LinkedIn, and I'll personally send you the code. And yes, this is me saying, directly sending it to you. No bots, no assistants, no canned responses. Because leadership is not about perfection, it is about progress. And if you're not ready to take that next step, I can't help you. But if you're ready to take the next step, I'm here to help you. So, what it's going to be? Are you ready to lead with purpose? Then DM me Mindful Leader and let's get started. I'm your host Singh. You're listening to Mindful Leadership, transforming lives on the Transformation Network. Lead loud, lead proud. I'll see you next time.
Thank you for watching Mindful Leadership Transforming Lives. With me, your host, Singh. We are honored to have you join us on this journey to explore the transformative power of mindfulness, emotional intelligence, and authentic leadership. Tune in every week on transformationtalkradio.com at noon Pacific on Tuesdays, where we will continue to explore how mindful leadership can create a ripple effect of positive changes in your life and lives of those you influence. This show is dedicated to helping you lead with purpose, presence, and passion. Whether you're navigating the complexities of business, building strong connection with your team, or striving to make a meaningful impact in the world around you. To learn more about the show, access additional resources, or dive deeper, visit singpowerupcoach.com. Remember, leadership isn't just about what you do. It's about who you are. Let's continue to transform lives together, one mindful moment at a time. See you next week.